Etsy SEO can be a minefield. One wrong move and boom, you could tank your entire shop. You could kill your traffic. You could completely fall off search pages. So as you've probably gathered already, Etsy SEO is touchy, which is why in this video, I'm covering the must-know golden rules of Etsy SEO that you need to be familiar with if you want to be successful on Etsy. For those who are new here, my name is Starla, founder of the Handmade Alpha Academy for Etsy sellers and manager at erank.com, Etsy's most popular SEO tool. And I can't tell you how many times our eRank support gals have had to soothe panicked sellers who have made fatal Etsy SEO mistakes, then blamed eRank for their sudden drops in traffic, which is totally understandable. When you make changes to your Etsy listings, you expect to see fast benefits from those changes. But unfortunately, making keyword changes isn't the same as changing the tires on your car. There are a lot of factors that play into the success of a listing, most of which you can't see as a seller. So today, we're shining a light on best practices for Etsy SEO that could potentially save your shop from falling into a downward spiral. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to give a quick shout out to this week's featured shop. Hey you, thanks so much for your love and support. For those of you watching, if you'd like to submit for your own shout out, just tag Handmade Alphas in a photo or screenshot of yourself watching this video, either in your Instagram feed or Instagram stories. In order to understand how to not make Etsy's algorithm mad, there are a few key things that you need to know about how Etsy's algorithm actually works. Unlike changing the tires on your car, which results in an immediate improvement to your vehicle, Etsy SEO takes time to work. A lot of time. And since Etsy SEO is like the vehicle that gets shoppers to your listings and storefront, we kind of need to respect how the algorithm works in order to ensure that your SEO efforts are actually doing what you need them to do. Golden rule number 1, wait 60 to 90 days to make changes. Yes, that sounds like an astronomical amount of time to sit around waiting. But when it comes to success on Etsy, you have to be willing to ride it out for the long game, especially when it comes to the algorithm. When you add a new listing to your shop, Etsy takes that listing and moves it all around, showing it to different people, testing it with different audiences, and ultimately boosting it for a short time in order to see how shoppers interact with it. You have to remember that Etsy is a business too, and when you make a sale, they make a sale. So showing your listings to the right type of shopper is Etsy's ultimate goal, and Etsy tells us that this typically takes an average of 60 to 90 days. After they observe shopper interactions for this average time frame, they assign you what is known as a listing quality score, which also gives you a more permanent placement in search. In this free Etsy SEO toolbox, I explain more about how Etsy's algorithm works, as well as how to appeal to the 7 factors that Etsy uses to rank listings in search. So be sure to check that out if you need a little help with your Etsy SEO. Golden rule number 2, never change all of your listings at once. Remember at the beginning of the video when I compared Etsy to a minefield? This is an example of an Etsy landmine. When you make changes to an Etsy listing, you never know if those changes are going to help you or hurt you. Even when you have the very best intentions, you could spend hours on keyword research. You could be confident that you're choosing the very best terms for your listing. You could be positive that your listing is going to perform well, but there's no way to know without testing, because ultimately, keyword optimization, also known as relevancy, is just one factor that Etsy uses in order to rank your listings in search. There are 6 more factors that they tell us about. I cover all of those in this free Etsy SEO toolbox that I mentioned, and there are likely tons of additional factors that Etsy doesn't share, which means that if you go into your listings and make a ton of changes to all of your listings tags and titles, and those changes end up not being good for your listing, you won't have just hurt one listing. You'll have hurt all of the listings that you edited. When making changes to existing listings, always experiment in tiny batches and keep an eye on the impact of those changes before attempting to edit another listing. Remember, losing views on one listing really stinks, but losing views on all of your listings is way worse. Which brings me to my biggest golden rule of Etsy SEO. Number 3, never touch the tags and titles of a listing that is performing well. When you have a listing that is selling repeatedly, it means that Etsy's algorithm has identified what you want to be known for. You've nestled into your own little spot in Etsy search, and Etsy has carved a nice little place for you. Unfortunately, some sellers want to see if they can do just a little bit better, so they remove a few keywords from their listing, swap them out with other terms that they assume are better, and bam, they lose all of their traffic and stop making sales. You've just told Etsy that you no longer want to be known for the term that they were showing you for. And now Etsy has to figure out where your listing belongs, which can take a lot of time. Many sellers report that they were never able to regain their traffic and sales after tinkering with their best sellers. Let's look at a quick example. Maybe your Etsy listing title is Floral Pink Kitty Mom Ceramic Mug, Birthday Gift from the Cat. And maybe Mother's Day is coming up, so you want to try swapping the word birthday out for Mother's Day. You don't feel like the word birthday gift from the cat is bringing you much traffic, so you assume that it's safe to remove. But what you can't see and what Etsy isn't sharing is that while you weren't getting traffic from the term birthday gift from the cat, you were broad matching for the term ceramic cat birthday mug. Because Etsy doesn't just read your keywords in the exact order that you've written them, also known as exact matching. They also read your keywords in every possible scrambled combination. So by removing the main keyword that shoppers were using to find your store and basically telling Etsy that you no longer want to be known for ceramic cat birthday mug, you're essentially destroying the road that was funneling shoppers to that listing. If you want to experiment with a well-performing listing, it's totally fine to swap out photos, to tweak or add to your description, or to adjust things like pricing, shipping, or processing times. But if you have a listing that is bringing you sales and traffic, leave your title and tags alone. Over the next few weeks, I'm going to be focusing on more Etsy SEO tips and best practices to help sellers game up for the busy autumn traffic season, which usually picks up around late July and August. So if there are any specific topics that you'd like help with, please let me know in the comments down below. Because honestly, guys, I love coming up with video topics, but it's way better when you guys share specifically what you're struggling with so I can focus more on what you need most. And as always, with a little science, a lot of data, and some help from a trusted Etsy expert, you'll be well on your way to Etsy success. Cue the funky lo-fi beat.